Hello my readers over there on the other side of the YouTube sphere. Today I'm going to be reviewing you this book over here, Manifestoes of Surrealism by André Breton. So, a poet, And this book I have had for 5 years. 5 freaking years in my bookshelf. I remember I read this book for about 70 pages when I got it like 5 years ago. And now I got around to it and I read it. And this book is amazing, but I was in no way prepared for this book back then. And holy shit, this guy, like some of this writing over here, he has the fucking music in there. You can hear a fucking song, a silent fucking song, like playing, when he, writes this stuff, it all freaking rhymes. In some of these parts, it's like magic what this guy freaking has done over here. And he has a very, ambitious view for the times, it was the 1930s, I think, 1924 to 53. And this guy had a freaking vision so out of the times, I believe that, almost nobody could understand what this guy was even about in those times. And I had to grow up really like years to understand this book. This is a very, very deep book. And if you are a writer, you are going to become better by reading this book. I'm going to assure you that. Because over here, he lays out this kind of a thought or this kind of a notion about writing. You can tell this thing in a very, very different kind of way. And nobody will understand what you are on about until the last word. Can you do that for me? And why would you do that? Is that good writing? It kind of asks the question that if you have something that is very kind of ununderstandable, a very out of the norm way to kind of do art, should you still do it? It asks the basic question of the real artist, the real soul in you. Should you do this even though nobody will understand it, let alone buy it? Should you still do it? Do you have it in you to become a real artist? I'm going to say that this book has fucking magic in it. And it's amazing, but it's very hard to understand. And if you are young, you're probably not going to understand this book. And you might say that this is just, hogwash, that this is just, word, it's kind of like a salad that you like throw into a blender and then you say that this is food. And Surrealism was an art movement, and André Breton actually, I believe he traveled to New York with the other Surrealists when the World War II hit Europe. He went to the Americas, and there's a picture where there's Max Ernst and the Salvador Dali and all the other Surrealists and the American ones, because there were a couple of ones, American Surrealist painters, and there's a picture where they are all there, and André Breton is in that picture. I remember that, and it's taken from Americas, that picture. It was in the biography of Jackson Pollock. And Surrealism and abstract expressionism kind of played into each other in Americas in the World War II period. And these artists, they fled the war to Americas. And maybe that gave Surrealism a kind of American spirit, or a kind of, American character to it, a kind of freedom. And this book is all about freedom and all about dreams and, the psychoanalysis type of stuff, going with Sigmund Freud and that kind of business, was going on at that time. I remember that I bought this book when I was going through psychoanalysis myself, and it was 5 years, like 6 years ago, at least when I ended that. You know, I went through something 5 years of therapy, and this guy, it's freaking amazing. You know, that this book is just amazing. Like fuck man, if you really want to kind of open your mind up to the possibilities of like poetry and the possibilities of like what you can do in this age with this stuff. You have seen me the rhyming stuff, and this book kind of, you know, brought that out of me, you know. Yeah, for sure, very good. So surrealist poetry, maybe that's my new thing. I have to find more surrealist writers. And then the last part of this video is that I'm going to tell you how I found this book. I found this book by typing into the Google. I remember the search terms. It was something like best books about the surrealism art movement or something like that. And there was the Goodreads list, and this was like in the highest order of those books, you know. And a very, very interesting read, you know. Yeah. And André Breton, I believe, was from France. And just hear the name, André Breton. André Poeta. He's a poet, you know. André Breton, the surrealist poet. The poetries from the Francisese. Yeah, thanks for watching this video. Awesome stuff.